Hey everyone, I am so excited to be with you guys. Mothers are awesome. I just want to say you guys put up with a lot. The older I get, the more experience I realize how difficult I could have been. So I want to just encourage you, even though your children might be young, they love you and they're going to love you more for all the things you do for you. So going with this topic, you guys are the inside shoppers. You run the world in the grocery space. You're our ideal customer. I pulled up some facts about you guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but you basically do about 70% of the grocery shopping. Brand loyalty, you're 60% of those mothers that like specific brands. You influence purchasing power for grocers. They look to you for guidance. Technology integration, there's 45% of mothers utilize grocery apps and online platforms. You also decide for eco-friendly products because you do about 60% of the shopping on the sustainability factor. So you're a little bit more eco-friendly than males. You influence a family diet about 75% of the time. So your role shapes the family's dietary habits and the grocery shopping decisions. 50% of the coupons are used more by mothers than any other member in the family. And then shopping trends, you follow shopping trends more than any other individual, I guess, out of like students, fathers, employees, single adults. But those are some just cool facts that I thought would kind of help you think a little bit. My goal is to make this more of like an organic, raw, really like if you have to grab your child, bring them in the podcast. I think this is going to be nice just to know, you're going to be able to unfilter and share any insight that you have that you want because you are a deciding factor in the grocery space. So I'd love from here you introduce yourselves. So I have on my left, I have Kristin, then Melissa, and then Hannah. If you can just briefly say your name and then your children, your age range, and then also where you like to shop. So Kristin, could you take it away?
Hi, my name's Kristin Tao. I have a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I'm in my early 30s, and I like to shop at a small independent grocery store, and then I shop at Costco as well.
Cool. Thank you, Kristin. And then Melissa?
My name's Melissa. I am also in my 30s. I have a 7-year-old boy, and I shop. Well, so we recently moved. We moved about 6 months ago to a new city, and I'm still kind of getting the hang of like the grocery stores in the area and what I like best. I've kind of been sampling. I think at home in Riverside, I shopped at Ralph's a lot because it was across the street, and sometimes Sprouts. Over here, I've gone to a variety. I've been to Albertsons, I've been to Smart & Final, I've been to Sprout. Oh, there's a Walmart neighborhood market, and there's also a Whole Foods like mini market, not like the big Whole Foods, like the small Whole Foods. So I've kind of been doing like the tour of Upland since we moved.
Very cool. Hannah.
I'm Hannah. I just turned 30.
Oh, congratulations. Welcome to the club.
Thanks. My daughter is 5 months old and my son is 2.5. I like shopping at Costco, 99 Ranch for my Asian stuff. I do like Whole Foods, but there's no Whole Foods out here. I like Goodwin's, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Albertsons because it's right next to me, Gless Ranch. I go to like different stores for different things. There's certain things that I like for different things. So sometimes just out of convenience, I'll just go to Albertsons, but other times I'll go to different stores for different things.
Sweet. Yeah, so I kind of want to dig up on some of the points that you guys already brought up and why you shop at those stores. So Kristin, you mentioned the independent store, and then you also said Costco. What's kind of the reason why you shop at Costco and that independent grocery store? Is it like the loyalty? Is it some products? What do you like buying there? Or is it the experience? I'm just kind of curious what makes that turn for you when you shop there.
So I would say, why I shop at the small independent store, I do try to buy local as much as possible, or like shop with like businesses around where I'm from primarily. I say I'm a lot. Also, I shop at an organic store. I primarily like to feed my kids organic food. I like the small grocery store that I shop at. I know most of the employees since we've been shopping there, like almost exclusively apart from when we go to Costco. So when I go in, my kids are with me. I know all the employees. If my child runs around a corner, I'm not freaked out. Where when I am at a larger grocery store, I get really nervous. When I'm checking out, they always help me to my car. They load my car for me. So those are really the things that keep me coming back. Also, the grocery store I go to has a deli. And so me and my daughter turn it into a date every single time we go grocery shopping. She
Aw.
gets to pick her smoothie. She's friends with the guys who makes the smoothie. So she picks her color. So it's really like a fun experience.
Very
Primarily why we shop at Costco is my husband really wants to shop at Costco is probably the main reason that we shop there. But I do like certain things like their whole organic chickens are a really good price. And so we're trying to kind of narrow down what is the best price that we can get at Costco. What if the cost savings are really worth it versus shopping at the smaller store. So we've noticed like eggs are kind of the same price. So we just support the smaller store versus buying them from Costco. And so we really have done an analysis on those things.
That's awesome. I mean, I like that you compare the prices between the two different companies and you're like, well, I'd rather support this company. So
Yeah.
you're leveraging your dollar, but then also just conscious of what you're buying. That's cool. I feel like sometimes I forget about that, but I do that usually when it comes to certain, like if it's organic or if it's natural or conventional or if it's convenience. Melissa, you said, so you're kind of in this new stage where you just move somewhere, you're kind of hopping around, exploring different grocery stores. What are some of the things that you feel are important to you to earn your dollar for grocery shopping? Is it the convenience factor, or is it, the maybe like the technology? What are kind of some of those factors you're looking at? Because you sounded like you mentioned a lot of stores are next to you.
Yeah, we do live we have a variety of stores within a close range. So for me, what I'm finding, having shopped almost exclusively at Ralph's and Sprouts for many years, after like 7 years of living in that location in Riverside, I kind of am finding that not all grocery stores carry the products that I was accustomed to. So for example, the Walmart neighborhood market that's like really close, like within a mile of my house, I wanted to get just like some basic stuff like jam. I wanted jam, but I like to get the jam that doesn't have like a ton of added sugar. And I went and like they didn't have any jam. I didn't even have to get that brand. I just wanted to get a jam that like is under a certain threshold in terms of added sugar per serving. And like all the ones that they had just were like had a ton of sugar. And then it was like the same thing with like granola. So I wanted to get granola. It didn't have to be a specific brand, but just like under a certain amount of like added sugar. This is something that I'm paying attention to recently because like my A1C came back a little high on my most recent physical. So like I want to avoid getting into the pre-diabetic category. So I'm watching added sugar, and for my kid as well, because I mean, there's just added sugar in everything in the American diet. So just trying to be conscious of not, I'm not going to not give him cake, but if he's going to have cake, I don't also want him to have the equivalent of cake in a peanut butter sandwich also, right?
Oh, shoot. Yeah,
So,
no.
So
True.
we're just, trying to be conscious, and like, unfortunately, the Walmart neighborhood market like didn't have anything that I would consider to be like reasonable in terms of added sugar content. Like, and so the Sprouts, which is a little bit further from me, miles wise, that's basically where I've been going to get more of like our regular staples like jam and granola and cereal, things like that, because they have more variety that I consider to be healthier when I'm looking at certain metrics. So maybe a little bit less convenient, but I'm willing to go an extra half mile out of the way to get things that I consider to be better for our health long term. And it was the same thing at Smart and Final. So I got really used to being able to walk across the street to the Ralph's where I used to live. Now the store that's within walking distance to us is Smart and Final. And so I enjoy walking. I like to make my kid walk, and we make a trip out of it on Saturday mornings walking to the grocery store. And there's like a little bakery that's next to the Smart and Final. So we went there and got like fresh baked bread, and then we went to Smart and Final. Smart and Final, unfortunately, didn't have many of like the pantry staples that I would have liked. I mean, they had them, but not ones that I would consider like to be healthy for us. But they had produce, so like we bought, what they had. So they had produce, we got that, and then we walked home.
So it's like kind of that like shopping plaza also experience. It sounds like Kristin gets a smoothie, makes a date with her daughter. You went to the bread, get some breads before going to the store, and that idea of just walking, kind of making it an experience. I think grocery stores are an experience for me. I mean, I don't have kids. I go with my dog sometimes, or I go with my nieces and nephews. But I do think the experience is a huge part of my grocery shopping. And I mean, I recently in the USC food industry management course, they're talking a lot about how millennials or even these new shoppers have strongest dollar power. They tend to shop more health conscious, and they're pivoting to be more aware of what's in their food, which is having a hard time for some of the large CPG brands like Coca-Cola or Pepsi. Like a lot of those ingredients, they're artificial in flavors. They're not exactly, what are they? What's red 40, what's natural flavors, so ambiguous. But I think I got some health conscious moms, and you guys are concerned with your kids, which I think is even more cool to see. Could you kind of break down a little bit more on, I guess you said, like you went into Walmart, you went into Smart and Final. I'm just curious, like, what was your experience shopping there? Like, did you go through the self-checkout at Walmart? Because I believe they have self-checkouts. Or did you go through the check stand? And kind of like, if you could maybe tell us, what do you prefer? And do you enjoy that experience? Or, would you rather use online shopping? Just kind of curious.
I don't know about online shopping for groceries. I kind of like to pick my own produce. I don't know. It's just a personal preference. I feel like the cashiers do it faster. Like they can out faster and probably more accurately. Like for me, if I'm trying to use like a coupon or something, than the self-checkout machines. The self-checkout machines are slower. Like when you put something down and then it says unexpected item in the bagging area, like remove item. And then inevitably, I mean, maybe it's just me and I'm just like clumsy, but then inevitably they're like, oh, an employee has to like come and help you. And then you have to wait. And then somebody comes and they scan their card and it's a whole thing. So if like there's huge lines for the cashiers and no one at self-checkout, I'll go to self-checkout. It's fine. But I just find that if a cashier is open, like they're probably going to be able to get me through faster and more pleasantly than I can like scanning like myself. And it's just kind of like clunky because it's such a small little like surface that you have to put the things on. It's like they have a bigger surface at the cashier area where they're like bagging your stuff. So yeah, anyway, I just always feel like it's clunky and awkward if I'm trying to do a large purchase at self-checkout. So I prefer the cashier.
Yeah, I was going to talk on that too. I hate self-checkout.
Wow. Okay.
And I thought I would love it because when I worked in the grocery industry. So it was a huge deal and I was really excited about it. But now as a mom and a stay-at-home mom shopping, especially my little ones are not, they run around. And so like I cannot check out and watch them at the same time. It just gives me complete panic attack. So I would way prefer for someone else to do it for me and then take me to my car and load my car. Like, I cannot do all of it.
Next level. I don't necessarily expect that, but I appreciate that she does.
But if I don't, yeah, it's hard to check out yourself when you're watching your kids at the same time, in my experience.
It's hard. Even if it's just me, like if I have a large purchase and they only give you this much like real estate to put the items on, and if you remove them, then it just says put the item back because it's like weighing the total or whatnot. Then I feel like I'm getting accused of stealing and the alarm's going off and yeah, no, it's not great. It's not great. If it's like one or two items and there's a line at the cashier, I'll go through self-checkout. But like there's a math calculation that I like go through where I'm like, is it worth it? Probably not.
Wow. I mean, I think that's such a good point. I mean, you see self-checkouts kind of everywhere all over Europe, but it really hasn't. It's slowly coming off into US, but it's still struggling to really get out there. And I think it's, grocery in US is different shopping habits than Europe and Asia. we have more space, and I feel like people want that human interaction of having to do things, of looking up the produce that you don't really necessarily know. So I think those are some great points. Hannah, I would love to know your experience grocery shopping. So you mentioned Ranch 99. You also mentioned like Gelson's. It sounds like that. I believe that's an independent grocery kind of specialty store. Did you mention Trader Joe's as well? Nope.
I mentioned Trader Joe's.
Sorry.
Oh, Bless Ranch. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Could you kind of break that down and why you shop with those stores?
Oh yeah, Bless Ranch. If we want oranges, like we'll go there. If like our oranges on our tree aren't ready, we'll go to Bless Ranch for their oranges. Or if like I'm like purely out of convenience, because it's like 3 minutes from my house and I need like an onion or something, I'll just go to Bless Ranch. But they don't really have organic stuff, so I don't do like, and they have a small selection of produce and stuff, so I'll go there just for like specific circumstances. Trader Joe's I like because they have a lot of cool like specialty items, Trader Joe's items. They have a really big selection of cheeses, and I do a lot of charcuterie, so like I like going to Trader Joe's for their cheese selection, and like some of like they have like a big frozen food section. Like I don't get that much of the frozen food, but I like their frozen breakfast, like their frozen sausage patties or like hash browns and pizzas and stuff like that, or like desserts. And then our milk and our eggs we get from like anywhere. We just get organic milk and organic eggs, so pretty much anywhere that we're going. It doesn't specifically have to be from somewhere, but like for Sprouts, like we go there specifically for like certain kinds of cereal or certain kinds of yogurt, because Theo really likes like Siggy's yogurt, so they don't sell that at other places that I've been to. So yeah, pretty much just for different items, like I'll go to different places.
What do you get at Ranch 99? Because that's kind of very specialty.
Oh yeah, well that's like for all my Asian shopping, like because I'm Asian, obviously I like Asian cooking. We get our rice there, our noodles, fresh noodles, dried noodles, sliced meat, certain cuts of meat, like short ribs, like to have like the Korean barbecue, like short ribs. They like slice them in a certain way, and then like just like a lot of Asian vegetables for hot pot. Like they have like bok choy, napa cabbage, lotus root, a lot of different mushrooms like enoki, like just like Asian mushrooms that you don't really find elsewhere.
I think like whenever like if you're doing something special, like a special dinner or something, I see how those different specialty stores, and you have those different loyalty to different products that are sold in the stores, their role in your guys' shopping habits so far. So I think overall, I mean, I'm getting a good census of like how you guys shop a little bit, but I'd kind of like to see like if you were to kind of walk through a grocery store and you could explain like the whole interaction of like ideal customer service, ideal technology. Like if you were to close your eyes and picture the best grocery and shopping experience, I mean, of course, someone's going to greet you and say hi, but I'm just curious, like, I don't know if it'll be the same for everyone, but I was just curious, Kristin, could you kind of just come off the top of your head and just explain, a quick grocery shopping experience, maybe with, one of your daughters? What would be that perfect experience for you as a grocery shopper?
I think I kind of already explained it, so I don't want to repeat myself, but simply like, yeah, be greeted. I like going in. I don't want the grocery store to be too large. Yeah, I think just have products that are easy to find. It would be better. This grocery store I go to is not well labeled. If they could actually, like, when the aisles are labeled, that's really helpful with what you're looking for. So it's easy to find. And then if you check out, having a fast cashier that does it is always a really nice experience. I don't necessarily, having people around to help is nice, but you don't need too many of those. If you're a regular at the place, you should know where things are.
Cool.
I really like, for example, like Trader Joe's, Aldi's, and Costco, because if you try something of theirs and you don't like it, you're not satisfied, you can bring it back and they'll return it. And then with Aldi, they'll replace it too. So I really like that. Like when I'm trying something new, or if I bring something back and it's like bad, like it's moldy or something, I'll bring it back. Like I've done that with like Costco. And then just like if I want to try something new, because they're always having like new products and I happen to not like it, then I just bring it back and then I can get a refund. So that's why I really like shopping at those places.
Melissa, let me try to give you a different scenario here. The worst shopping experience story you have for us. Why you'll never go back to that store again. You don't have to say the name of that store, but I'm just curious. I know all these questions are kind of like on the spot, so I apologize, when you're just having these conversations. But can you think of an experience that you had that was really negative that you're like, I don't think I'm going to come back to this store, and hopefully that's a learning lesson, to different retailers. If you don't have any, don't worry about it because maybe Hannah might.
I mean, I've definitely had bad experiences in stores. I can't think of having one in particular at a grocery store, other than during the pandemic, in the early days of the pandemic, when you would go in and the shelves were empty of bread and empty of eggs and empty of milk, but that wasn't the grocery store's fault. So I don't hold it against them. Can't think of ever being like so disappointed with the grocery store that I wouldn't go back, but I've had that experience at other types of retail establishments for sure.
Thanks for mentioning that. Cool. I think I've asked a lot of questions and I just want to say thank you guys. I'm going to turn it over to kind of like a fire chat round. So I'm going to just list a couple things and we're going to go in a circle and you're just going to say yes, no, whether you like it or you don't like it. Kind of like the whole experience of yes, I think it should be in the grocery store. No, I don't want it to be in the grocery store. So we could go maybe Kristin, Melissa, and then Hannah. I think that's how we've been going. So for the first one, let's go with delivery or pickup. So like this is if you get it's like Instacart or, something where you order it and they deliver it, or you pick it up. So you place the order and then you drive up. Which one would you prefer, Kristin? Delivery, Melissa.
It depends on the context or like the specifics of the day, but I guess in general, pickup.
Hannah.
I think it also depends, but probably delivery out of convenience.
Cool. Kristin, do you prefer a juice bar or do you prefer a deli?
Both are really crucial.
Oh. You can go with both, I guess. Huh?
Both, but I guess deli.
Melissa?
Yeah, I guess deli.
Hannah, did you hear that question?
I would prefer a juice bar.
Cool. Online shopping or in-person shopping?
In person.
Yeah, I think for groceries in person, I feel like it goes faster than trying to add everything to my online cart.
In person, because I want to pick out my own produce.
All right. And then would you say like, okay, Kristin, what would you prefer more, like quality or like price? Like saving money or quality or price?
Quality.
I mean, I want both, but quality, I guess. Yeah.
Quality.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to think if there's any other questions or anything else you guys would like to say. I think this is a great platform for you to let other grocers, decision makers kind of impact their thought process. Yeah, I'm just curious, is there anything else that you would like to say that you would want your grocery store owner to know? I mean, I think this whole session was run off of our previous webinar with mothers. And I think one of them was like, we really like clean bathrooms. And I was like, what? That sounds so interesting. But I mean, who wants to go with their kid to the bathroom and it's dirty? So like that was just something that popped up. But is there any last thoughts that you guys can think of that you would like your grocery store owners or decisions makers to know? I mean, I think I didn't talk on the subject of I guess eco-friendly or sustainability. Is that important to you guys? Yes or no? What else? The modern role of like technology. So, I mean, we've kind of talked about self-checkout. We talked about online shopping. Has anyone played around with the shopping carts that do the shopping for you? I went through a store that had it and it was different for me.
No, yeah. What is that even? Like a robot shopping cart?
You check it out as you go.
Yeah, so like you load the shopping cart and it scans the items, but you have to like log in. I guess they call them like kind of like a shopping cart checkout system. So but I mean I mean, do you guys like testing technology, or do you kind of find you want to just get in and out when you grocery shop? It sounds like there's no last feedback. So I'm going to say we're going to wrap it up here. Just want to say a big thanks to the incredible panelists. You guys are awesome for shedding your light of grocery experience and shopping in grocery stores. Your insight will definitely be helpful to the grocery leaders in our space. I'd like to express a thank you to our sponsors, retailMetrix, for sponsoring GroceryPulse, for making this webinar and podcast possible. And don't forget to check into our insight discussions monthly when we post new industry leaders or different panelists that we'll be bringing on. We'll be bringing on millennials and Gen Y next, and then we'll publish that next month. Thank you, guys.